Hey everyone! I haven't done one of these real close-up face-to-face videos for a little while, but I had an epiphany the other day, in the shower no less, and I wanted to share it with you. It's about soap designs, making soap that you can sell, soap marketing basically. Now, you'll probably know I'm not in the business of selling soap anymore. I used to have a thriving, very small micro business selling my soap in my local community years ago, and it was really popular. And I ended up giving up that soap business because basically I couldn't keep up with it. I was working full time in a professional career at the time, and I did not want to give that up at that point. The YouTube whole thing came later, and now I'm doing Ellie's Everyday full time, which is awesome. But at the time, I did not want to give up my career to make soap. Soap was something that I loved doing. It was a hobby. And like lots of us, we get busy. We find a few people who really like our soap, so we make more and we just fall in love with it. And it's such a wonderful hobby that you can turn into a successful business. There are loads of you out there, I know, making your soap and selling it all around the place. But this video was actually inspired by these two beautiful little bars of soap. There's a story behind these. These were made by a lovely lady in the Ellie's Everyday membership. And this is not an ad for the membership. I am going to mention it because it did come from that. But if you want more details about that, just look in the description box. There is a link for that if you'd like to check out more about that. But there is a lovely lady in the membership. Her name is Ansha. And we met face to face not that long ago. It turned out, long story short, that she lives nearby to me. And she very graciously invited me to her place, and we ended up swapping some soap. I gave her some of my soap bars and she gave me some of hers. She gave me 3. I've used one of them, and these are the 2 left. Ansha is a beginner soap maker. She's just exploring and trying different things, and like lots of people when they start out, we want to make gorgeous patterns. And check out that beautiful soap. She's called this one Rose Petals. It's beautiful. And what happened when I had my epiphany was I had used up the first bar of soap that Ansha gave me, and I had a choice between these 2 bars of soap to use next. And I looked at this one first because it was really appealing, but then I went, it's too pretty to use. And then I looked at this one. This is a Turkish mochaccino. It's like a coffee mocha kind of fragrance soap. It's coffee soap. And this one's a beautiful floral rosy fragrance. But this one has a lovely design. This one's more plain. It's got some beautiful goldy coffee beans on the top. But I did not use this soap because it's so pretty, and I didn't want to use it because it's too pretty. And I thought about that, and I thought, I've heard that a lot. I've heard from soap makers in Facebook groups and other places, and people that I know who say, people won't buy my soap, it's too pretty. Or they buy it, or I give it to them, but they don't use it because it's too pretty. And it got me thinking about this philosophy that I have, and I don't have any expertise in marketing, but it's really about how you can really fine-tune your soap making to meet the needs of you as a maker and of your customers if you want to sell it. It's going to be a problem for people wanting to sell lots of soap to other people who they want to just use the soap if those people aren't looking for pretty soap. Some people, customers, are looking for pretty soap, and different times of the year you will sell more pretty designed soap, particularly around the holiday season, Christmas markets, things like that. That's where people want to go out because they're looking for gifts, and they're probably more inclined to buy soap. However, oftentimes the pretty soap is not the soap that gets used. So if you're a soap maker and you're struggling with sales and selling your handmade soap bars, think about your designs. You might be making really intricate designs, beautiful swirly colors and patterns and things, but it may not be that your market wants that. they may think that's nice. They might buy one or two as a gift to give to their friend at Christmas time or family members, but those people might not ever use them. They might go, oh, that's so beautiful, smells great, it looks great. They might put it in their linen cupboard or somewhere so that it can fragrance their sheets or whatever, and lots of people do that, but they may not ever use it, and they may not ever come back to buy more. When I had my soap business, and you will notice from most of my videos, the recipes that I share, they're all pretty plain. I don't use a lot of swirls. I do have videos, swirly soap videos, but they're fairly few and far between. I kind of still enjoy making swirly soaps, but I've been making my own soap, and I did used to sell it, but I've been making it for a really long time now. The soap that I give away most, and the soap that I use the most and that I really enjoy making the most, are plain bars of soap that are brilliant quality, or the quality that I want them to have, or the quality that my friend or my mum or whoever's getting them, that they want to have, you know, their favorite recipe. And the fragrance, they love the smell of it, you know, whether it's an essential oil blend or a fragrance oil or whatever I've used in that soap that they really love. And they love the basic color. My mum, for example, she loves my lavender soap. It's just got some ground lavender in it, and I do put a little bit of purple Brazilian clay in it these days, and essential oils, lavender, and sometimes some other things mixed in there. She doesn't care that it's not swirly. Nobody misses my swirly soaps. And she and her friends and my other friends who love my soap, they ask for it again and again and again. And they just love using it. And they are repeat, if I were selling my soap, they would be repeat customers. I should point out that there is a time and a place for gorgeous, artistic, swirly soaps. And I am in absolute awe of some of the other soap makers here on YouTube who have channels. I'm thinking of Holly's soap making. I actually don't watch YouTube very much anymore, unless I'm trying to learn a cooking recipe or something. But there are some amazing soap makers out there, and they are artists. They really are. They're making art out of their soap bars, and they're selling them because there will be customers who want soap bars that look like works of art, and they are really something special. And I'm not suggesting at all that people don't do that in their soap making, but what I'm saying is know your customers and think about what it is you think that they want. Are your customers the type of people that really appreciate the art? Do they comment on that? Do they say that they love the patterns and the swirls and all the colors? Or do they talk about how good it felt, or how, you know, or do they talk about both? Maybe your customers want a bit of both. You know, they want a bit of artistic expression in your soap bars, but they also want a good quality soap as well. You know, it's probably important to look at both. I know in my circles, from my experience, my kind of people, and this kind of makes sense because I am who I am and I like fairly plain things, and we tend to attract other people in our lives who sort of have similar ethos to ourselves in all sorts of areas. And I guess the people that I know and my family who I've come from, we all kind of like fairly simple things. You know, we don't really go for really bright colors. We're all kind of earthy, natural, simple, slow living types who don't mind things looking a little bit plain. We're more after the quality of the product itself and its basic qualities and its smell and its feel than we are for bright colors. But that's just me and my crowd. You and your crowd might be completely different, or you and your customers might be completely different, and you might be really into the art of soap making, and you might really all be really bold and colorful, and I kind of wish I was like that, but I'm just not. It's just not me. I'm a plain Jane, and I accept it now. But your customers or your people might, you know, getting to know what they like and having a really good think about that is a really good idea. The other thing I would suggest considering with this is think about where you are selling your soaps. Are you selling them online, or are you selling them in a face-to-face situation, or in a local geographical situation. I did have a little made it shop online years ago where I sold some of my soap online, and I posted some of it around Australia, never any further than that. But most of my sales were people that I know locally, or my friends at work, or my family. People would just say, have you got this, have you got that? I would tell people what I had through my Facebook page, and they would say, yep, I want some of that, or I want some of that. And so it was very easy for me to have direct access to my customers, and I knew what they liked. So, that was sort of easy to find out what they liked. When you're selling your soap online, you've got a much bigger, wider potential audience. So it can be harder to narrow down a little bit more what your style is, what your brand is, what's the best sort of way to go for. Should you use fragrances? Should you use essential oils? Should you use bright, leery colors or something more subtle? I would personally recommend, if you're not sure, stick to what you love the most, because any product that you make, if you're really passionate about it and you really, really love it, like it's really ticking the boxes of what you would like to make, I think if you stick to your guns with that, you will have success. There is a soap maker here in Australia who I admire greatly. Her name is Delizia. I don't know her surname. Her business is called Delizia Naturally, and she only makes, most of her soap, and she makes skincare products as well, are made from tallow. When she first started, she was making soap with reused cooking oil, recycled cooking oil. And she's really, really passionate about using fats in her soap recipes that are sustainably sourced. And for that reason, and good for the skin, and she's got other reasons as well, but she uses all tallow soap. When she first started, she was the only person I know who was putting herself out there and saying, this is what I want to do, this is why I want to do it. And I don't know exactly how her business is going, but she's still going. And I really like the fact that she has sort of staked her claim and saying, this is what I'm doing. And now she's getting more people following what she's doing because she's got integrity and she's pretty clear on it. Not all of us are like that. Some of us do chop and change, including me, and that's okay. We can't always be so super clear-headed about our direction. It's good to be able to change, I think, and move with the times and learn and grow as you go. But I really admire people who know what they love and they stand by it, and they make the soap that they really, really love for their own reasons, and they find their customers and their customers find them. It really helps to know this sort of stuff, because if you, for example, what can go wrong is, say you really love a particular style of soap making with a particular sorts of patterns or colors or whatever it might be, and you might find that you're selling your soap at a local market in a particular area or part of town, and your soap might not be moving so fast. It might be that the type of soap you're making isn't really appealing to the people in the area where you're selling your soap. Ask people, ask your friends, get your friends to give you some feedback. You can ask your customers, they probably won't tell you, but if you can ask people really honestly what their feedback is, what style of soap would they really like? Do they love the arty designs, or do they love something more plain that just feels really good and lasts well in the shower and smells good? And ask them to be honest with you. I can tell you, and we've talked about this in the Facebook group, if you don't get much of an answer, if there's a bit of silence, it's probably that there's something that they don't like about your soap, or they're just not really into it. And some people don't like handmade soap. It might not be anything to do with your soap. They just don't like the whole experience. They would prefer to use some body wash out of a plastic bottle. Thank you very much. Some people, regardless of what you say, won't want to tell you what they think because they'll be worried about hurting your feelings. And I would generally think that if there's silence and there are not repeat follow-up sales, it's because there's some barrier. They don't like the soap very much, or it's too expensive, or, there's some reason. And it might, that may not have anything to do with you, and it may not be anything within your power to change. And if that's the case, then your job then is to find the customers who do like your soap the way it is. If you believe in it and you want to keep it the way it is, you'll have to find the people who love it. find the tribe that fits with your vibe. But if you're not wedded to the style of soap making that you're doing and you think there might be some wiggle room, then trying to tune in a little bit more into what are you actually doing, what may be getting in the way. You know, sometimes even offering too much of a variety can be off-putting. I think my soap always sold because after a little while, I worked out probably after a year or so of making soap consistently, I had a range of about 6 soaps, and they were the classics and they were the ones that always sold. So, you know, when you first start out, you experiment with everything as you do, which is great, and that's the fun of it. But after a while, if you make the decision to start selling your soap, you will start to know which are the popular soap bars, and you've got to try new things to find out what is popular. But if something doesn't sell, don't keep going with it. Just focus on the essentials, the ones that you know people will love. It is much better, I think, to go up to a soap stand and have great big piles of 6 different types of soap that are beautifully made. They're just screaming out, buy one and use me in the shower tonight, you know, rather than, oh, so pretty, I'm just going to buy one and put it in my drawer. You want people using your soap. You want people going, I want to wash my body with this stuff. It smells so good. It looks so wholesome, you know, even if it's plain looking, it looks great. But if you've just got a few in your range, you're not going to overwhelm your customers with all this choice. You're going to send the message to them that you know what you're doing, you're really clear, you know what's good. You can confidently tell people, these are my best sellers. I only make the best sellers. These are the best soap recipes. I love them. All my customers love them. And you can use this as your sales pitch at your market stall or on your website or wherever you're selling your soap. So that's something else to bear in mind too. So I think that's about it. I just wanted to share that. I thought it was worthwhile sharing, and it might help some of you because a lot of people get really excited about soap making and want to start a business, but getting your head around this sort of stuff and developing a bit of a feel and an eye and a nose for what sells is really beneficial. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that was helpful. Please check out the video description box if you want any more info. And thanks again, Ansha, for the inspiration of my epiphany in the shower the other night. I look forward to using your last 2 soap bars that you gave me. Thank you. See ya.